Hi, class. I wanted to give you a little bit of a review for test one. Not really a review, but I looked through the test and there were some problems that I wanted to talk about because I want you to do well. I want you to get these right. And if I feel like they aren't really straightforward, then I want you to talk about it. So anyway, here we go. This one here, there's a problem just like this on there. It's got different numbers and different scenario. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is it's a little confusing. It says a survey of 12,072 men in a particular country found that 47.1 received an influenza vaccine. Identify the population in the sample, right? Well, this is the sample, right? The 12,000. And down here, it says identify the sample. And it does have the 12,000, but it really refers to the status, the immunization status. And to be honest with you, I think that's very confusing. I would have said the 12,000 men is equally good for an answer. So on this particular type of question, if it does have both of these, like the number is in both of them, then pick the status instead of the people. I think that's very misleading. So I wanted to tell you about that. The same thing here. Identify the population. All right. To me, the population is not the men in the sample, but the men in the country. That would be this one, or men in the country. But this says the collection of all the men in the country. So to me, there's a problem like that on the test. I wanted to give you a heads up on it, and so you can do. This is question 19. If you want to go back and do your homework. By the way, to prepare for the test, look at all of your homework problems. That's the best way to prepare. Okay? Don't wait till like Sunday, 10:30. If you have a question, I'm not going to be around to answer it then. Look at it tonight. Okay, next one. Suppose a survey of 960 homeowners found that 23 bought flood insurance, 23%. Which part of the survey represents the descriptive branch of statistics, and then what's the inference, right? They're saying there's two types of statistics, descriptive and inferential, right? Descriptive has to do with the actual calculation that you make on your sample, okay? So this 23% here, that is the statistic, okay? Choose the best statement of the descriptive statistic, and that's descriptive. It says, out of 100%, only 23% bought flood insurance, right? That's describing the sample, right? And this next one is about inferential statistics, and that is like make a generalization that is reflective on the whole population. It says most homeowners do not buy flood insurance. So I just wanted to kind of go over that. Inferential kind of expands on what you're describing. It takes the calculation from your sample data, and then it uses it to kind of predict the population. Okay? All right. This next one I put on there, this is question 18 on the first section. It says, identify the level of, maybe this is on the second section. Identify the level of measurement of the data on the horizontal axis, okay? So I just wanted to make sure this is horizontal, and I know you know that, but just to kind of emphasize that again so you don't get distracted or something on the test. This is A, B, C, D, E, and so this labeling is actually here. This is years, and remember, years and temperature are interval data, all right? So this horizontal is this. And maybe because I have it in a column there, you might think that's on the vertical axis, but that's horizontal axis, right? And then, of course, annual income, that's ratio because, zero is actually a measurement of income, zero income, all right? That's ratio. This one kind of goes through the four levels. Again, B is temperature. Automatically, that's interval data, temperature and years. right? So age is going to be ratio, right? Because there's a 0 age, really means something. Temperature says interval. Disabilities, right? This is on a survey and it says disability. So what are they going to do? They're going to say, what kind of disabilities do you have, right? And label them. And that's qualitative data. That's nominative, okay? Nominal. What's the level of measurement for change in health? Scale -5 to 5. Again, that's ordinal because the numbers don't really mean anything. -5, change in health -5. That's kind of it's less, than -4, but the 5 itself doesn't mean anything, right? So that's ordinal. There is order. I would say anything like good, better, best, or like strongly disagree to agree, or the top 5 movies. Those kinds of things are ordinal data. You can't really do any mathematics to them. To tell you the truth, there's a little debate about ordinal data and how you can use it to calculate things. But anyway, for the most part, if it's a scale, like IQ or something like that, there's no inherent 0, all right? And that's what I wanted to put here. Like, there is no inherent 0 in IQ, right? Those are, like, typically invented scales have no inherent 0. I think even the SAT doesn't I think it's 200 to 1600. There's no 0 in that scale. So that is not ratio data. Just wanted to make you aware of that. Kind of IQ scales, SAT scales, or like the one I said, the disagree scales, those have no inherent 0, okay? I wanted to talk about when one of the questions says, what's average something? It's not weight. But when you're doing an average, already that implies there's a division, but you don't want to let that throw you off. Look at the quantity itself. Weight here is ratio data, right? So don't say you might think, oh, weight I know is ratio, but the average weight is that ratio. And I don't want you to get thrown. To me, that's a trick question. Okay, so just look at the quantity it's talking about here. Remember, there's a couple questions on sampling, right? And the two difficult ones really are stratified and clustering, to know which one is which. Look at that video I made if you're getting confused on that. Stratified, remember, that means all of the segments are represented. If you take a random sample from the whole population, you might miss a segment that's not, where it doesn't have that many members. So you want to stratify the data first and then go through each segment and then put those into your sample. All right, so you get all the segments, but not all members in each segment. Cluster is, you don't pick all clusters. Look at that video I used, TJ Maxx's. You don't use every retail store. You'll pick a few of them, but out of the ones you do pick, you're really going to analyze that data, include all that data from that particular cluster. Okay, so make sure there's a difference here, and it's a clear difference. So, take your time on the test, read through the questions, and ask yourself, am I getting all the segments? Or am I only getting some of them, or 2 of them? Am I getting everyone in the segment, like down here? All members of the segments chosen are included in the sample. They're stratified, they're not all. There's another random sample in each segment. Okay. Last thing, if you are charged with collecting data and you have to write questions, be careful not to be biased. Anything that has language in it that could influence the reader. How bad is the cafeteria food, right? That's already saying, well, we know it's bad, but just how bad is it, right? That's what this is saying. You don't want that. You want something that's more neutral. What do you think of the cafeteria food? Something that avoids good or bad in the language, or anything that is positive or negative. So anyway, do your homework, go through all those, make sure you know how to do those problems. And if you have a question, write it to me before the weekend. Like I said, if you're waiting until Sunday night and I check my email and it's like noon on Sunday, then I might not see you till Monday morning. So good luck. I want you to do well. Okay? You can do it.